Hey friends, welcome back. This is Ashley with Uncommon Roots Homestead. Today we are over at the land. It has been a while since I've seen you guys. We took a whole week off, which feels like not a ton of time, but also feels like it was forever. So sorry, we were just busy and had a lot going on and honestly just needed a break. And sometimes it's good to take a break, but we're back. I want to show you guys what's going on in the garden this morning, and then we're actually having a run-in delivered because we're setting up a second pasture to move Crusher out away from the ladies. So lots going on. Let's go do it.
You got it.
What's that, Isla?
Cow, pig, goat, chicken.
Kevin picked up our organic feed this morning. We actually get that from a feed company that's based out of Kentucky. And so once a month they drive into our area and we pick up our order. It's really hard to find organic feed, especially like cattle feed. In fact, we haven't found any like dairy ration that was organic, so it's good to have, and we actually really like this. It's like literally like a loose, it's not pelleted, so it's like powdery with like oats and stuff all in it, so we really like it. Would you just look at this rose? Now it's still not climbing, my trellis is still naked, but look at it. Look at these dinner plate dahlias. So I told you guys, I wasn't even sure like what kind of dahlias I had growing in the garden because I planted so many tubers that I kind of like randomly acquired. And a lot of them were kind of, I don't know, stifled, edged out. What's the word I'm looking for? Like they weren't growing because of everything else. So like there were tomatoes in this bed during the season. And so these dahlias never actually grew. Look at these. Like, do you see how big they are? They're gorgeous. No idea how I ended up with them, but love them. And what's really exciting is that these dahlias, once we have our first frost, I'm gonna go ahead and dig up the tubers, and the tubers that have created this plant, there's probably like 3 or 4, like I'll be able to split it and then have these flowers everywhere next year, which I'm super excited about. I thought this was kind of funny. This is a random tomato plant that volunteered and came back. It's too early, buddy. Too early. There's something so like interesting about the change in the seasons when it's like sweater weather in the garden. I think it's like 64 right now, but there's still tomatoes. I'm not complaining. Okay, so I planted a whole packet of spinach on this bed and none of it, not one, literally not one spinach plant has come up. So I'm gonna need to buy more seeds. Kevin just called me over. He's trying to decide where to put that run in, so I'm gonna walk down there. So where are you thinking?
Up here, I think.
Like next to the fence?
Not right next to it. I want to be able to mow behind it. And that's the only problem with that one, is that I can't get the mower behind it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of a pain. So I'd like to be able to mow behind it, but like I'm just trying to find like a level spot for it.
I just said to Kev we should look at this back corner because this area right here is like super flat and gets perfect sun, and it's perfect for a market garden or even like a larger kitchen garden. Yeah, this back corner would be really good. Even like up against that fence instead. It's kind of in the corner here.
That should work.
Yeah, it's super flat too.
Put it right here somewhere.
Yeah.
Should be fine.
Yep. And then that leaves a ton of space down there if we want to garden. Because I still think we'll garden here in some capacity.
Yep.
After we run the cows. So that would be something where this will be like the garden area I'm talking about will technically be in their pasture, but when we're ready to garden, Kevin can either separate it out so that the cows run around it, or we'll just move the cows to another pasture and I'll garden in it like during that season, and then let them kind of in there to keep the weeds down and stuff when we're not gardening in it. So we'll keep the soil healthy.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
What is our daughter doing? You can't tell, but she's like climbing on the outside of the Ranger. Look at that house. Also, as I'm walking back, I'm thinking like, what a whirlwind of a year. A year ago, I posted one of our first videos about our walnuts, our black walnut trees. And in that video, we collected all these walnuts and had like all of these great dreams and visions of what we were gonna do with them. That 5-gallon bucket is still full of walnuts in the garage. We also had compost delivered. I'm gonna show you what's happening at the back of the garden because we are now way later than I wanted to be with planting our garlic and onions, but it's okay. You have a big window. You can plant, look at these, how gorgeous. You can plant garlic and onions in our zone, in our area, well into like November or December. So we have plenty of time. It's just now early October. But last year I did it in late September and I loved it. I was able to harvest early. It was just fantastic, but it's over now. Can't do anything about it. So this year, you guys know, we had our squash right here. We cleared that out. We've covered those rows with some thick plastic and we're trying to like kill the weeds. So we've had that on for about 2 weeks. It's not been as hot as it really needed to be to kill all the weeds. They're starting to die, but they're definitely not all dead. But it's better than nothing. So what we're doing is killing these weeds. So this week what we're gonna do, Kevin's gonna remove the plastic and he's gonna till up and get rid of as many weeds as he can that have kind of died. And then we're gonna put cardboard on top of everything and then add more compost to the rows. So you can see these were not, we never tilled this space. This has all been like raised bed without borders. We just did cardboard, wood chips, compost in rows. So you can kind of still see the mounds of where the rows were. So we're gonna keep those rows in the same place. And we've talked about adding something a little bit like thicker, like some kind of a weed mat down in the walkways with much thicker mulch this time to try to keep the weeds down a little bit. But we're gonna do our garlic and onions back here. I did not like having the squash back here. It just became a jungle. We did not harvest very much. Like it just was a mess. So I'm not gonna do that again. We're gonna put our squash out farther where we can give it the space that it needs and really like do it better. So our sweet potatoes are still in the ground over here. I tried to dig those a couple weeks ago and they weren't ready. So we're gonna give them a little bit more time and then try to dig those right before the final frost or the first frost. But this week Kevin is gonna take this away, add more compost, get these ready, and then I'll be planting the garlic and onions later this week. So that's really exciting. I mean, I don't even need doing it here. I'm not gonna use this space for anything else next summer, so I'm not as worried about getting them in early so I can get them out early. Like I don't need a May harvest, a June or July harvest will be just fine. So that's the plan. There's a lot of space in these rows. I think they were like maybe 35 feet long. I think they're about 35 feet. I'll measure them. And then they're probably each like mound is like 3 feet wide. So there's plenty of room. You can do a lot of garlic and onions in this space. And we actually are planting mostly garlic that we actually harvested and grew last year. So that'll be the first time for us like actually like not purchasing new garlic, just growing what we had. So I'm excited. It's like a piece of sustainability that we've wanted for a long time that we haven't like fully been able to have. So that's what's happening back here. These are ready to come down. Look at this Malabar spinach, just still taking over. We did harvest some to do it in a stir fry and then didn't actually get to it, but aren't these seed pods cool? I think the seeds are in there. So like the way, oh gosh, my finger's gonna be purple, but I'll show you this. So the way this works, you have these little berries, and if you break those open, there's a seed pod inside. And then that little pod is what you would plant. Oh my gosh, my fingers are gonna be purple. That little guy right there. Yikes. But also, how cool. You could use this as like a pink dye. I wonder if you could use it as food coloring. Well, there's that. These dahlias are looking good too. They're so pretty. I love these baby dahlias. And the garlic is looking wonderful. So someone asked me the other day why my fall garden didn't have most of the things you think about in a fall garden. Things like broccoli and cauliflower and like some of those brassicas and or even Brussels sprouts, which we love. And I said, you know, I want some of that. Some of that I don't want. I've grown broccoli and cauliflower now 4 years in a row, and all 4 years I've said I'm not going to do it again because I just don't like how buggy it gets. I don't think it's worth it. Like, I don't think what I get out of it is worth what I have to put into it. And it's just not my favorite. So I don't enjoy eating our homegrown broccoli and cauliflower. So I think we're just done with broccoli and cauliflower. But I do want to try growing Brussels sprouts. I do want to do like kohlrabi and like stuff like that I just haven't done well. I just didn't do it this year. I knew that this fall was going to be really busy for us. I knew we had a lot going on personally and professionally. The house is almost done, so we're in the process of like packing all the time and trying to split our time between being here and taking care of this space and then packing up our house and getting everything ready there to sell. So it's just been, I'm trying to only take off as much as we can chew. And so that's why my fall garden is not as robust as maybe other fall gardens. I'm not gonna lie though, I'm never gonna be the channel that you come to watch to learn everything about fall gardens. I don't love all of the things that you grow in a fall garden. I really like leafy greens and I've done a ton of those. This is my spicy mustard greens. This is arugula and butter crunch. I have some Merlot lettuce. Like these kind of things I love. And I'll always do lots of beds of this. I wanted to do a whole bed of spinach. I told you guys already I need to buy more seeds because they didn't germinate. But in terms of like all of the brassicas and like all of the really cool fall garden things, that's just probably not going to be what you find here. Though I do want to try doing more like bunching onions and leeks and stuff like that are a little bit more cold hardy. My bunching onions here have been great all summer, and I'm hoping that they'll stay, and I'll be harvesting on them in the winter as well. So I guess that answers your question. Also, let's talk about these nasturtiums. I do not think I will be growing nasturtiums again. They have absolutely taken over. They're everywhere. They're dropping a million seeds. I'm probably going to be battling nasturtiums here forever. They just absolutely engulfed this bed. And that would be fine, except there were a lot of things in this bed I wanted to keep. Like my thyme. He's going to be okay, I think. He's still alive, just not great. My sage, like he's being totally covered up. All of this holy basil, which I need to come through and save the seeds. So you can save seeds for holy basil just kind of by pulling them off. And then there you go. Just plant that next year. And what I'm gonna do, just drop it right back in the bottom because I want it to grow back here. Man, it's so fragrant. It's delicious. Also, you can actually see where all of the basil seeds have dropped from this holy basil. They're coming back and growing in here, which is kind of fun. So I had all of the lavender over here, and this guy's just like, he's just taking over. Get out of here. Like, look at my poor lavender. You'll be okay, buddy. On this side, everything is looking wonderful. I've got that peppermint. I've got some variegated thyme. This rosemary is still looking great. Again, lots of basil going to seed. I'm just letting the seed drop so that it'll come back. Excited about that. Hi, Rob. Sweet boy. It's always a good day when the garden kitty comes to visit. You're the OG. I like it when you come home. Other than that, you can see sweet potatoes still look good. Lots of tomatoes over here. I'll come talk about those. Pit stop. Look at those peppers. So happy. And these adorable eggplant pumpkin on a stick. Which, just as a side note, those pumpkin on a stick are not very good to eat. I know that in some Eastern cuisine, they're used when they're young and green and they're cooked in a couple of dishes. They're very, very bitter. So a lot of people use them as decoration because you can actually dry them out and use them as like pumpkin on a stick for like fall decor. They are not tasty in my opinion. I also don't know how to cook them. I don't really know how to prepare them. I did look up a couple of recipes. So I'm sure they can be tasty. Just they are not like, you're not gonna use them like a normal eggplant. They're very bitter. The bees are loving these dahlias, and so am I. Also, my artichokes have just taken off. They are not flowering, so haven't gotten any artichokes, but I think there's a chance I will get some next year. And artichokes are perennial in our zone, so here's to hoping. And then we have all these tomatoes. So neglect is a good word for these. Most of the tomatoes that you see are rotten or being eaten by other things. I've kind of just let them go. There's still a lot of green tomatoes. There's still a lot of tomatoes that actually could be salvaged or picked. Honestly, we are past the point of wanting to preserve a ton of tomatoes. Like, we've already done that. So like those, a lot of those still look really good. I might come in and pick some more. We've been eating them fresh, but for the most part, we're kind of done here. I also did not pick any tomatillos this year. It's a shame. Sometimes things go to waste in the garden. It's not ideal. I don't want to waste in my garden, but this year I'm giving myself extra grace, and sometimes stuff goes to waste.
Found it in the Honda.
Those are pretty.
These ones?
Mm-hmm.
The red ones? I like the pink flowers. I like the pink flowers by you.
Where?
Those pink flowers.
Yeah, they're beautiful, aren't they? All right, so our second run-in was just delivered. Super exciting. It's down there. Can you see it? Yeah, it's like right there. That's it. So it's white with the black trim. It matches the other shed-in and run-in that we have, and then it's also gonna match the house and the garage whenever we finish the garage, and also the chicken coop. So our goal is to have everything kind of go together on the farm. I feel like that creates a really nice visual synergy. So that's what we're going for. But friends, thank you for spending time with me today on our farm. I'm sorry that it's been a minute since we've caught up, but I'm so glad to have you here. You always have a space here on our homestead, in my garden, and on our farm. Until next time.